Since the 2016 season, the Portland Trail Blazers have been in a weird situation. They're obviously good enough to make the playoffs, as them being there is almost as certain as the sun rising tomorrow. However, when it actually comes to competing for a championship, well, that's a different story. Even though they have a bona fide superstar in Damian Lillard and a competent supporting cast, they've never had a good enough roster to compete with the titans of the Western Conference. And even when they did make the conference finals in 2019, they were swept by KD-less Warriors that didn't even have an amazing supporting cast. However, with the sneaky good offseason, a new coaching hire, and Dame remaining on the roster, there's still reasonable levels of optimism for Rip City. But before we begin, be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a massive difference for the channel, and if you enjoy the video, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. Last season for the Portland Trail Blazers was a season marred by injuries to notable players like CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic. And no, I have not forgotten about Terry Stotts' bad coaching, just gonna address it later in the video. However, one consistent bright spot for the Blazers last season was Damian Lillard's availability and outstanding play. Last season, Dame averaged an impressive 29 points and 8 assists on 45% from the field, 39% from 3, and 93% from the free throw line. Not to mention his outstanding play down the stretch that helped to keep the Blazers out of playing range despite CJ and Nurkic missing combined 60 games together last season. There's no reason to believe that Dame will be slowing down anytime soon, and when you have a player of that caliber, you're pretty much a shoo-in for the playoffs. Alongside Dame in the backcourt is his running mate in CJ McCollum, sorry Blazers fans, who was still very productive when he was available. But again, he missed 25 games due to a foot injury he sustained in January, and the Blazers obviously need him to be healthy if they want to accomplish anything next season. Yusuf Nurkic also falls into that same boat with being productive when healthy, but he unfortunately hasn't been the healthiest player in the world, to put it very nicely.
I was born with glass bones and paper skin. Every morning I break my legs, and every afternoon I break my arms.
Last season, Nurkic simply wasn't in form after coming into training camp out of shape, and any momentum he tried to garner afterwards was shot down due to injury. However, I fully expect the bounce back season for Nurkic if he is healthy, especially in a contract year. The Blazers are an abysmal defensive team, but Nurkic's impact as a rim protector still makes a notable difference for this team. And offensively, Nurkic is an effective post presence who can give you 15 plus points a night and is one of the better passing bigs in the league, being able to facilitate from the elbow or from the high post. Additionally, even though a very small sample size, Nurkic has gradually expanded his range to the three-point line and actually shot 40% last season. Again, a very small sample size, but being a threat from three is the next step in expanding his game and will make the Blazers a more dangerous team. And finally, the Blazers retain Norman Powell in the offseason, which is pretty much a necessity, and they still have Robert Covington and Anthony Simons. However, this team did make nice offseason additions as well. For example, Larry Nance is someone who can help them out defensively. He's obviously an aerial threat and underrated passer, and shot 36% from 3 last season. And also, the additions of Cody Zeller, Tony Snell, and Ben Malcolmore were solid additions as well. But given the lack of major moves this offseason, the biggest improvement this team can experience is through coaching. Last season, many Blazers fans and just NBA fans in general were on the fire Terry Stotts train due to the team having a very predictable offense, there being a lack of in-game adjustments, and the team habitually being among the bottom third of teams defensively. And we can't forget that the Blazers had 4 first-round exits over the last 5 years. Yeah. It's completely unfair to put all the blame on Terry Stotts, and the front office hasn't done the greatest job in getting defensive personnel. But hey, it's safe to say that a change was necessary after running it back a whole 9 straight years with Terry Stotts. Based off quotes that I've seen over the offseason, the first change that Coach Billups hopes to introduce to this Blazers team is more ball movement, which makes sense given that the Blazers were first in the league in isolation plays, but last in passes made and assists per game. The second major change that Billups wants to enforce is an excellence on defense, which at least is commendable. I mean, of course, you want to improve on defense, but given that you're playing a 6'3" guard at small forward and have 2 guards in the backcourt that are notoriously bad on defense, there's only so much improvement that you'd like to expect from this team. But on the optimistic side of things, they certainly can't be worse than they were last season, where they were 29th in defensive rating. The acquisitions of Larry Nance and co. will help them on that end of the floor as well. As long as Coach Billups can improve in adjusting rotations, incorporating some offensive creativity, and at least getting this team out of the gutter defensively, he can be a solid coach for this Blazers team. So, with all that being said, where does that put the Blazers in a brutal Western Conference? Well, I think it's safe to say that even the greatest Portland Trail Blazer fans out there don't feel that they are the favorites out west. So, are they in the next tier of teams that have a great chance of winning the Western Conference? Well, that's yet to be seen. Between the Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, Clippers, Suns, and Jazz, which is literally 6 teams by the way, they all have a solid chance of winning the Western Conference if healthy. This Blazers team is good and will make the playoffs if their core is relatively healthy, but I need to see a healthy Nurkic, defensive improvement, and other changes before I can crown this team as a serious threat to win a crazy Western Conference. Those are just my thoughts on the Portland Trail Blazers this upcoming season, and as usual, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section down below. So comment down below how far you feel the Portland Trail Blazers can go this season. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like on the video to boost it in the algorithm. Feel free to follow me on social media, and also feel free to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned.